did, and I respect that, and I think, you know, hopefully with Steve starting, it'll turn our team around. I hope so.
While one Kansas City quarterback's disappointed with Coach Marv Levy's decision, another is very happy. Quarterback Steve Fuller.
I came up here 3 years ago as a rookie and felt like I worked hard enough and got the starting position, and then I got hurt last year and hurt again this year, and it's been real depressing so far this year. It's been a tough thing for me because the team was doing so well. I felt like I wasn't a part of it, and so I'm glad to get the chance again, and I hope I can perform well enough to keep it.
It's an unusual time of the year to make that kind of decision. I was just wondering.
Well, it is, perhaps so. I don't, particularly since we've done pretty well and Bill has played well. But I really didn't weigh the time of year. I weighed what I thought what the proper decision would be, Davis.
But to let you know just how settled this situation really is, Levy told me afterwards, if Fuller can't cut it, Kenny will go right back in. I'm Davis DeMontlos and reporting for NFL 81.
As the Jets and Seahawks prepare to square off today, this sticks as a claw in the Jets' throat. It's their only loss in the last 10 weeks. It came back in October against the Seahawks, 19-3. The man who directed that Seattle win was Jim Zorn. He's the man who's directed all of Seattle's 5 wins against the Jets. Because of a broken ankle, he won't be in today. Instead, his place will be taken by Dave Krieg out of Milton College, a heretofore unnoticed speck on the athletic map.
Welcome to Milton College in the heart of Wisconsin. You know, this school is so small, 300 enrollment, that when we brought our NFL 81 cameras here today, it may have been the biggest event that ever happened to them. The athletic director and head football coach here, Rudy Godini, has seen 6 of his athletes go to the NFL, but the 7th may have put Milton on the map.
I really can't believe that the NBC actually sent somebody to Milton College, and I sure hope they found it by today, you know, because it really isn't that easy to find, but I'm sure that the people down there are very excited.
Rudy, this Sunday you've got a starting quarterback in the National Football League from Milton College. What's that mean to this place?
Well, Mike, I hope it doesn't sound facetious, but I think all good Catholics would understand. It's almost like having an audience with the Pope. When he was a freshman, we could see how fluid he was as an athlete. He didn't start until the 5th game. But I've had 2 other quarterbacks sign in the NFL, so I had a barometer to measure from. And Dave was the best all-around quarterback.
Rudy called us and told us about David, and we'd heard about him. He had a good record, and we'd been mailing things to the school, and so we were in touch, but it was a matter of getting to David before someone else did.
Rudy, you've put a starting quarterback in the National Football League. How does that make you feel?
Everybody's happy. We're all thrilled. Gosh, my hands were getting sweaty. I thought I was starting.
Mom's really excited. She's super hyper, and Dad, he just takes it as it comes, you know, and gets excited once in a while.
He's had a couple of tests already this year, but this has got to be his biggest one, and he handles pressure pretty well. He doesn't, at least outwardly, he doesn't seem like it bothers him a whole lot.
I think everybody's stirred up, from the secretaries all the way up to the high brass on campus. It's quite a thing for us. And you noticed when you came on campus here, all the banners that are up. It's a big thing. I think it gives a lot of hope to players on a small college level that they can do it too.
Everywhere, not just
so it's Americana. You know, it's the impossible dream. You know, I go out there, throw the ball, catch it, run around. Am I going to ever get there?
A chance to play is what Krieg will be afforded today, the same kind of chance the old AFL afforded players like Gino Cappelletti. He's a man who went on to become a Player of the Year, the subject this morning of our kickoff report.
Old Spice presents Kickoff. Kickoff is brought to you by Old Spice Aftershave Lotion, the fresh, clean scent women love.
High-powered offenses got most of the early attention in the American Football League, so players like Gino Cappelletti of the Boston Patriots became the league's first stars. Gino was a double threat. He was an excellent receiver who traded real speed for sharp, tight pass patterns. Those hands made him Player of the Year in 1964, the year the Patriots won the AFL championship. And one way or another, he got loose for 42 career touchdowns. But it is this version of Gino Cappelletti that keeps popping up in the record books. Gino the place kicker. Cool-headed, dependable, accurate. He had the poise, the concentration, and the range that great kickers have to have. He could kick with the wind, he could kick into it. He kicked extra points to tie games and field goals that won games. One of only 3 men who played in all 140 AFL games, he won the scoring title 5 times in 10 years. And with 1,130 career points, Gino Cappelletti will always be the AFL's all-time leading scorer.
A little Old Spice has a lot of rewards. Old Spice is the clean, fresh, masculine scent so many women love. So even if you love only one woman, you'll love Old Spice, the man scent so many women love.
Some final notes and the comments of our Pete Axtell. That's coming up when NFL 81 continues for Week 14, right after this.
This diesel engine is what makes the Volkswagen Rabbit and Pickup the best mileage 81 car and truck in America. Right now, make your best deal on either one. And Volkswagen of America will mail you a check for the suggested retail price of the diesel engine option. What that really means is you get a diesel at no extra cost. So you can save hundreds of dollars now and hundreds of dollars a year on fuel down the road, if you get to your Volkswagen dealer by December 31st.
Can you remember the gift you got last year? A lot of people can't. But here's one gift you'll remember for years.
The Minolta XGM. It's an automatic 35mm SLR that's built to defy comparison. Designed with a unique combination of features. Optional motor drive and access to over 45 Minolta lenses. So if you're looking for a gift in a class by itself, give the camera in a class by itself. The Minolta XGM.
Pete Axtell, he's the one with the glasses. I say that because he just got back from Florida, been working on your tan.
Yeah, this is my trifecta tan. You get it between races at Calder Racecourse in Miami. You know, being in Miami, I've been watching the Dolphins in New England. People might think that this is a little bit of a sloppy game, but the reason is every year New England makes a mistake, leaves the cold weather, and goes a week early to Florida. Great idea to get in a good party mood. Also a great way to lose 13 straight in the Orange Bowl, which they did going into today.
I know you picked 4 games earlier. 2 of them are in progress right now.
Yes, we're sweating out the Vikings -3.5 against the Bears and Green Bay +2.5 against the Lions. In the late game, I like 2 games, Denver -3.5 over Kansas City, and Seattle and Dave Krieg +9 in my upset special over the Jets.
You're a brave man. Not real brave, but brave. A couple of numbers to look forward to as we get set for the kickoff. Out here in San Diego, Dan Fouts needs only 114 yards through the air to have enjoyed his 3rd straight 4,000-yard passing season. And as for Chuck Muncie, if he can get 2 rushing touchdowns, he will have eclipsed the NFL record now held by Jim Taylor and Earl Campbell, that record held at 19 scores. We're getting set for the kickoffs. We'll go to them following these messages from your local station.
This time on TV, Mel Brooks' box office smash, Young Frankenstein, underway.
Every Curtis Mathis television comes with a 4-year limited warranty. But our customers will tell you we build them to last a lot longer than that. So instead of breaking down when the warranty expires, our Curtis Mathis is just getting broken in.
I'm Curtis Mathis. We can't promise you how long our sets will last. But when you buy one, choose it carefully. Because chances are, it's going to be around a long time.
That's right, Curtis.
Curtis Mathis, the most expensive television in America, and worth it.
This man is trying to stop blindness, cure kidney ailments, and save lives. Announcing Seattle's first annual Darts for Diabetes tournament. Participate or just watch. Darts for Diabetes, December 11th, 12th, and 13th at Longacres. Don't miss it.
Recent research has shown how the Vietnam War has affected the lives of many of our veterans, producing a delayed stress syndrome characterized by symptoms of alienation, uncertainty about self and others. The Disabled American Veterans has a special program to help these veterans, the Vietnam Veterans Outreach Program. Denver General Hospital is participating in this program, and it's working. If you're a Vietnam veteran and experiencing problems, contact your Vietnam Veterans Outreach Office now.
The Fighting Bengals, tonight at 6.
After an 0-3 start,
start. The New York Jets are 8-1-1 in their last 10 games. Today, they try and continue their drive toward the championship of the AFC East as they come into the Kingdome to take on the Seahawks. At last report, the Dolphins were leading the Patriots in the fourth quarter at Miami. So the Jets have to win here today to maintain their first-place tie with the Dolphins in the AFC East. Should the season end with those two teams tied, the Jets would have the tiebreaker advantage. But the Seahawks are a team they have never beaten. They are 0-5 in their history against Seattle. Hi, everybody. Bob Costas along with Bob Trumpy. And Trump, the quarterbacking story first.
Let's speak of the New York Jets. Richard Todd playing his third week now with that cracked rib, and he's become the inspirational leader of this football team. This week is the first week he's had an entire week of practice. Told me in the locker room prior to the game that he's sore from that practice. But nevertheless, the last time he threw an interception was against the Seattle Seahawks, and Shane, that's the last game they lost. Now for the Seahawks, for the first time since 1977, they start with a new quarterback.
His name is Dave Craig from tiny Milton College. Enrollment 300. An NCAA Division III school in southeastern Wisconsin. He was asked earlier this week, when was his last important start? He said, hey, I don't know. I guess it was against Ripon. But he finds himself in the lineup today because Jim Zorn, a man who has really been a Jet nemesis with 6 touchdown passes in the final, will kick off. Alvarez took over a week ago, and Miami, by the way, has won 24-14 over New England. Is the final from the Orange Bowl, and so the Jets have to win to maintain that first-place tie. Here's Alvarez, who a week or so ago was set to take an insurance job in Corpus Christi, Texas. However, Efren Herrera required knee surgery, and so Alvarez, who was cut late in the preseason by the Seahawks, was brought back. His kick is fielded by Bruce Harper. Harper across the 30-yard line, and not much more than that. Michael Jackson made the tackle. Let's look at the offensive lineup of the Jets. Here is Richard Todd, who has not thrown an interception in his last 125 throws. Freeman McNeil, his best game as a pro a week ago, and this is rookie season, 93 yards and 2 TDs, joined by Tom Newton in the backfield. Bobby Jones starts in place of Wesley Walker, who is back in New York with a calf injury. And you saw the other receivers, and there is the offensive line. Rasmussen healthy enough to start, but we will see Stan Waldemore from time to time. From just across the 30, Todd will throw on first down, and it's batted back in his face by Mike White, number 70, the former Cincinnati Bengal.
Bob, this is a tough road to hoe for the New York Jets with the pressure of constant winning. As long as Miami wins, then the Jets have to win, and that's a very, very difficult task to take into any football game. The pressure is on, and early you can see signs of just how players react to certain pressure. We'll try to pick them up for you.
The Jets do have the more favorable remaining schedule, especially because Buffalo and Miami meet later in the season at Miami. Defensive line of the Seahawks. 6 sacks a week ago, a club record against Oakland. Pitch it back to Freeman McNeil, and McNeil for 5, McNeil for about 8 before fumbling it out of bounds, and it will still be Jet ball. The Seahawks have allowed more yardage per rush to the opposition than any team in the league except St. Louis and New England. And watch McNeil on the second down carry.
You know, Bob, it's interesting, too, that last week Seattle lost a football game, but they got 6 sacks, a fumble recovered for a touchdown, 2 other fumble recoveries, an interception, and they were leading 24-3. And you see a good pickup by Freeman McNeil. Now 3rd down and about 1.5. So this is a defense that can play, the Seattle defense.
Needing a yard and a half, they give it to Kevin Long, and he's spun down for a loss by Jacob Green, number 79, the first-round draft choice in 1980.
We spoke of the pressure of the New York Jets. They must win every week they go out there now. The Seattle Seahawks obviously out of it. They can play very, very loose. Well, you see an attempt by the tight end to block Jacob Green, who is an outstanding defensive lineman, and so far the New York Jets don't seem to really have that frothing at the mouth that they've had over the last couple of 3 weeks.
Chuck Ramsey, who is second in the AFC in net punting average, and overall has kicked for a 42-yard average, has the snap go over his head. Loose football, still on the ground, and the Seahawks are going to have it in any event near the 10-yard line of the Jets. Kerry Justin, number 26, is the man who ultimately recovered it for the Seahawks.
Guy Bingham is the punt snapper, and this is not a bad snap. And he does appear to have an awful lot of zip on it. That ball should have been caught. 22 yards loss on it. But the big thing is the Seattle Seahawks now have first and about 11 yards to go. As I said, early indications in a football game can tell whether or not the team that has the pressure on it has responded to the pressure? So far, I'd say no. Now, this is when coaches earn their money. Walt Michaels has got to circle the wagons here and get some fire in the eyes of some of these New York Jets before the Seahawks can really get this game out of control.
Dave Craig takes the snap and hands the ball to Dan Dorning, number 33, former New York Giant, who busts inside the 10-yard line before Rudolph and Blinka bring him down.
This is so much a game of emotion, Bob. And the problem is that at this stage in the season, 8-4-1, knowing that Miami is now 9-4-1 and they must win, there is no accelerator on these professional athletes. As a coach, you can't just push them to 110% performance. But what the players have to do, somebody's got to jump out of the pack as a leader as you look at the offensive set of the Seattle Seahawks and grab this team by the throat and get them all thinking in the same direction.
Theodis Brown really had a field day the last time these two clubs met. 104 yards rushing in his Seahawk debut. Dorning gets the call again, a yard at most. It'll be third down and about 7.
Seahawk fans don't like the conservative nature of these first two calls, but then this is the first start ever for Dave Craig. And I don't believe Jack Patera wants to put him in a tough spot. McCullum, Sawyer, and Largent, the 3 receivers for Mr. Craig.
And the offensive line with Steve August, perhaps the most talented individual. First-round draft choice back in the early stages of the Seahawk franchise. And there is Jack Patera, who suffered through a 32-31 defeat a week ago against the Raiders after they led 24-3. Third and a long 6. First pass of the day for Craig. Touchdown! Sam McCullum. Sam McCullum, an original Seahawk, was with them with the debut of the franchise in 1976, hauls it in, and for McCullum, his 3rd touchdown reception of the season.
You said in the pregame that this young man, Mr. Craig, could not remember his last big start. I guarantee you he'll remember this pass for the rest of his life. And those people back in Madison, Wisconsin, that we have especially flown in or wired up this broadcast are now hanging from the chandeliers, I'm sure. 6-0 Seahawks.
Alvarez kicks it, and there was a whistle and flags before he booted it. The kick went wide to the right. And let's see what the call will be from Gene Barth's crew. Here's Gene.
False start, 77 offense.
Well, I'm sure this is exactly what Walt Michaels did not want to happen, for them to get anything cheap. A reminder once again that the New York Jets have never beaten the Seattle Seahawks.
False start, number 70 offense, re-kick.
That's Mike White of the Seattle Seahawks. Did he say 77 the first time? There is no 77 on the Seahawks.
Largent is the holder. Alvarez in place of the injured Herrera kicks, and he misses it again. Wide to the right. He got a reprieve, and he still couldn't put it through. So that's the first good news of the day for the Jets. With 12 minutes and 35 seconds to play, first quarter in the Kingdome. The score, Dave Craig and the Seahawks 6. The Jets zip.
Holiday greetings from Budweiser. The people who bring you Budweiser wish you and yours a happy and safe holiday season.
Gramp, I'm here to help you install your garage door opener.
I did it myself, son. It's a Stanley.
Hey, Dad, thanks for the garage door opener.
I'll show you how to put it up.
Oh, we did it this morning.
The Stanley.
Yeah.
Harry. Oh, happy birthday, dear.
You did it yourself.
It's a Stanley.
Stanley, we want to help you do things right.
This Christmas, open the door for someone you love. Give a Stanley garage door opener.
Walt Michaels' club has won 5 in a row, and right now, or at least pretty soon, that's going to be the ranking streak in the entire league, because Cincinnati's in the process of losing to San Francisco, and the Bengals had won 5 straight coming in today. Alvarez kicks, and again Harper fields it, this time at the 5. And doesn't get to the 20-yard line. Good kick coverage by the Seahawks. Number 37, Eric Lane, made the tackle.
12 yards on the return by Bruce Harper. Now, I don't want to coach from the booth, but
you will.
Yes, I will. That's our job, I do believe. Walt Michaels has now got to realize that he has to establish control of the line of scrimmage. You can't dink the ball over the line of scrimmage right now. Right now, you've got to convince the Seattle Seahawks that the New York Jets are here to play. And you do that by running it right down their throat. Let's see what happens.
Gaffney and Jones both to the left. The tight end Barkham is on the right. From the 19-yard line with 12:26 to play first quarter. The pitch back to Freeman McNeil. McNeil for 4 tough yards. Again, the Jets have never beaten the Seahawks. And in fact, they've never come any closer than a touchdown, losing 24-17 in 1978. 19-3 earlier this season. Theodis Brown ripping them for 104 yards. Zorn hitting Largent with a touchdown pass, and Largent on a trick play setting up in the backfield and carrying for 10 yards for a touchdown in that game.
Walt Michaels described it best. He said, take away all the trick plays. I don't care what. They just outplayed us. I think they should run it again right here. Establish control of that line of scrimmage.
Will go to the air instead. Plenty of time to throw. Completes his pass. Nice move by McNeil as he wheels away to the 32-yard line. And that's a first down before Dave Brown can make the tackle. Gain of 10.
This young man out of UCLA, when he is healthy and they can keep him in the ball game, all 16 ball games, is going to have a profound effect, I believe, eventually on professional football. He's big. He's tough. If he has one thing to learn, that is when to run over somebody as opposed to running around him. But he is a legitimate first-round draft choice, and in the next few years is going to be a big contributor, I believe, to the New York Jets.
The Seahawks are only 4-9 on the season, but they have victories as McNeil carries and busts it out to the 39 for a gain of 7 before Terry Beeson makes the tackle. They have victories over the Broncos, the Chargers, the Steelers, and the Jets, so they have played the spoilers role frequently. Second and 3 upcoming from the 39. 10:35 on the clock. Johnny Lamb Jones in the lineup now. He sets up in a slot left. Bobby Jones is wide to the left. And McNeil carries again. Jacob Green got there with help from Kenny Easley.
Tremendous play. This is Jacob Green on the best offensive lineman of the New York Jets, which is Powell. And watch Green. He shucks the block there and loses his balance, but still, just with pure leg strength, is able to kind of fire himself out and make the tackle. That's an outstanding play by Jacob Green, and he's been a keeper for the Seattle Seahawks since he was drafted last year. Had a knee injury, but now playing very, very well.
He's established a club record with 9.5 sacks already this year, which is just about half the total of the likes of Gastineau and Klecko, but a respectable total nonetheless. They need 4 to keep the ball, and the pressure is on, and the sack by Keith Butler on the linebacker blitz.
Total blitz, too, which meant man coverage on top. And the Seahawks so far are controlling the emotion in the line of scrimmage of this game. You see 53 Butler on the outside, not picked up by the guard. Randy Rasmussen, 66, coming out. Therefore, the sack. 4th down, and Seattle's going to get the ball back.
Guy Bingham's last snap couldn't be handled by Chuck Ramsey. This one is clean. Ramsey gets it away, and a long booming kick. Paul Johns backpedals to about the 23 where he takes the fair catch. A 49-yard kick by Ramsey with no return. 9 minutes and 14 seconds to play in quarter number 1. The Seahawks with the ball and a 6-0 lead.
Now get cash back from Chrysler. Not from Ford, not from GM, only from Chrysler. Get $300 to $1,000 direct from Chrysler on new 81s and 82s. Make your best deal. Then save $300. Save $400. Save $500. Save $600. Save $700. Save $1,000, depending on model. Save $300 to $1,000 at participating Dodge and Chrysler Plymouth dealers. Not from Ford, not from GM, only from Chrysler.
We'll open your eyes.
Great picture. What kind is...
RCA Color Track.
Thought they only made the big ones.
Guess you thought wrong.
I have an RCA.
Really?
Big projection TV.
Let RCA open your eyes.
Really?
From our smallest color track to our giant bright projection TV.
What do you think?
The picture's gorgeous, Bob.
George.
We'll open your eyes. Open your eyes. RCA.
This is Brian Gumble in New York. In San Diego, Chuck Muncie has given the Chargers the lead and set a record. With this touchdown, it's his 19th rushing touchdown of the year. That ties the NFL mark of Jim Taylor's and Earl Campbell's at 7-0 San Diego.
Walt Michaels stands along the Jets sideline contemplating a 6-0 deficit.
I believe that's Billy Baird, too, the defensive back coach of the New York Jets, standing right next to him. You can see the concern on their face, and they just had a big huddle of the offense over there on the sideline. I think the offensive coach is encouraging the Jets to, come on, get up here.
Last time Dave Craig had his hands on the ball, he hit Sam McCullum for the go-ahead touchdown. They keep it on the ground with Theodis Brown, and Brown hits right tackle for a gain of only 1. 2nd and 9 upcoming. You know, Craig bears considerable physical resemblance to Jim Zorn. He looks like him. We'll see if he can play like him. Miami beats New England in the game of most concern to the Jets, 24-14 the final. And Cincinnati is stopped by San Francisco. The 49ers go to 11-3 with the victory. Philadelphia continues to slump. Washington beats them at RFK. And the Giants beat the Rams. That knocks the Rams out of playoff contention officially. The Cardinals roll to 7-7. Their 4th consecutive victory under Neil Lomax, 30-3 over the Saints. In motion is Largent. 2nd down 9 from the 24. Craig on the handoff to Theodis Brown. Brown trying to turn the corner and does for a gain of 3. Back to the scoreboard, and Chicago, keeping that NFC Central as tight as it can possibly be, beats Minnesota, and Green Bay tops Detroit. Everybody's 7-7 there except the Bears, right?
Parity in the NFL.
Dallas, however, defies the parity theory. They just keep on winning, and for that matter, the Colts hold the rest of the league up. They'd love parity at some point. Instead, they're going to lose their 13th in a row. 3rd down 4. 3 wide receiver attack with Paul Johns in. Craig rolling right, throws, incomplete.
Interesting thing about that play, though, obviously respecting Joe Klecko, they roll away from Joe Klecko and Steve August. You'll watch this. This is very, very similar to what Jim Zorn does for the Seattle Seahawks, except he would probably roll the other way. He throws the ball very well here. Almost a completion to Largent, but a good job by the cornerback.
Jesse Johnson.
Just tipping it out of his hands.
Jeff West to kick. He was involved in a couple of interesting plays a week ago. As a matter of fact, he inadvertently stepped out of the end zone for a safety on a punt, which ultimately proved to be the margin of victory as the Raiders won by 1. A good Seahawk bounce after what looked like a poor punt. It's going to wind up inside the 20-yard line.
Bad choice by Bruce Harper. At least get in the line of the punt so that if it does bounce up, you can make a reception. 55 yards on that punt.
7:26 to play first quarter. 6-0 Seahawks.
Believe it or not, if 9 out of 10 of these homes burn down, there's no guarantee they'll be totally rebuilt. Because rebuilding costs are rising so fast, even inflation protection may not cover a home fully. But now, Allstate's got the brand new home replacement guarantee. Get it and get your home built back just like it was, even if rebuilding costs more than you're covered for. Ask your Allstate agent about the new home replacement guarantee. For ideas that make good sense today, you're in good hands with Allstate.
What's more natural than pasta and beer? Ah, what's more natural than natural light from Anheuser-Busch? The beer with a taste for food. It's natural, and it's light. So when you want to leave room for more...
What's more natural than natural light?
This is Brian Gumble in New York. Out at Mile High Stadium in Denver, the Broncos have moved ahead of the Chiefs. The touchdown set up by this aerial from Craig Morton to Steve Watson. In all, the play covered 86 yards and set up a Rob Lytle touchdown of 2 yards. Point after is good. Broncos lead the Chiefs 7-0. Let's go back to the Kingdome. Bob Costas, Bob Trump.
Thanks, Brian. A look at Ben Rudolph, one of the defensive linemen for the Jets. The Jets had allowed only 3 touchdowns defensively and 33 points over the last 5 games. They trail at 6-0 now, but not entirely the defense's fault, because the Seahawks got the ball after a fumbled punt and cashed in quickly. Todd to the air. His pass caught by McNeil. Tries to spin away from a bevy of defenders and can't do it. Jacob Green and John Harris among those who brought him down.
6 yards on the reception. And as I said earlier, just about anything you want an offensive football player to do, Freeman McNeil can do. Catch it, run it. He is an excellent blocker. He is a very, very unselfish sort of player. And I think they're still trying to figure out ways to use Freeman McNeil in their offense.
Missed several games at midseason with a sprained foot. And despite that fact, has 504 rushing yards in limited duty coming into today's game. They give it to him on 2nd and 4, and he can barely get back to the line of scrimmage. Mike White led the charge. Ken Easley came in to finish it off. Easley and McNeil were big buddies at UCLA, and as a matter of fact, they were successive choices in this year's draft. McNeil went number 3 to the Jets. Easley went number 4 to the Seahawks. They have never faced each other prior to today because McNeil's injury kept him out of the Seahawk game at Shea Stadium earlier this year. They actually lost a yard, so it's 3rd and 5 from the 21. Todd finds Durking. Scott Durking out of bounds with a first down for the Jets at the 34-yard line.
10 yards on the reception, and the Jets are doing an excellent job right now. I think one of the tendencies that most teams have at this point, down 6-0 and needing a victory, is they get impatient. And they're being very patient here, not hurrying. There you see Powell on Jacob Green, and Durking is wide open, and able to kind of tiptoe up the sideline for a 10-yard gain, first down.
My mistake. At the 31, as you said, Trump, not the 34, with exactly 6 minutes to play in quarter number 1, and the Seahawks leading it 6-0. Todd fires. Johnny Lamb Jones makes the catch with John Harris arriving too late. That's very close to first down yardage. It's just about a 10-yard gain on the nose, and it's close enough to measure.
Speaking of guys that they have yet to really figure out how best to use his talents, I think Lamb Jones probably falls in that category too. A guy with unquestioned world-class speed, with his knee tendonitis and all kinds of physical problems in the last 2 years. They're still trying to figure out how to keep him, 1, healthy, and 2, get him more involved in the offense. First
by
down.
The nose of the football. Wesley Walker, we're told, has responded to treatment. He was in Lenox Hill Hospital in New York earlier this week. With that calf injury, he has responded to it, but not sufficiently to justify bringing him all the way out here to Seattle. He wouldn't have played in any event, so he was left back in New York.
Watching, I'm sure.
So Bobby Jones and Johnny Lamb Jones will get considerably more duty today in Walker's absence and call this play off as flags fly before the snap.
Now, once again, Bob, in this psychological warfare of a football game, that is, I believe, a direct indication of the pressure of the situation. Having to win this football game. When you have players who jump off sides and, you know, they drop the ball and
False start, 60 offense, still first down.
San Diego grabs the early lead on Buffalo. Touchdown run by Chuck Muncie, and as Bryant Gumbel told you earlier, that's 19 rushing TDs for the season. Atlanta leading Tampa Bay 3-zip. Nick Luckhurst from 38. And Denver over Kansas City 7-0 on a 2-yard touchdown run by Rob Lytle. 1st and 15 after the penalty. McNeil takes the pitch, cuts back upfield. Freeman McNeil out to midfield before Michael Jackson, number 55, brings him down. He got 13 yards on the play.
That's something no coach can teach either. Good job by the offensive line of the New York Jets, too, cutting off the pursuit. There you see him all outside, and McNeil, with that instinct that every good running back has, feels that opening. 2nd down and 1 now.
2nd and a long one, we'll call it. The Jets are 3rd overall in rushing offense in the AFC. And McNeil is brought down for a loss. Jackson was there. Jacob Green was also there. It cost them 3 backward yards. Mike White got in on the play as well.
Mike White, I believe, beat the center, came around the block, and boy, was he there. But Michael Jackson was the guy who got there first. The young man out of Washington who has been a real surprise for the Seattle Seahawks, but is just a great inspirational player 2 weeks ago against San Diego, was almost a one-man defense against the Chargers. And the first time that the Seahawks had ever beaten the Chargers.
3rd down 4. Johnny Lamb-Jones into the slot on the left. They flip it out to Bruce Harper, but Harper's going to be short. Kerry Justin and Michael Jackson, with Justin, number 26, getting there first.
So far, the Seahawks have defensed the New York Jets very well. They've had to pick here and pick there to try to get the ball down the field. Still, I don't believe, have established complete control of that line of scrimmage, which is the real convincer to the Seahawks that we're here to play. That is, we being the New York Jets.
Chuck Ramsey has gone from the ridiculous to the sublime in 2 punt attempts. Couldn't handle Guy Bingham's first snap, and that set up the Seahawks touchdown and the game's lone score thus far. His second one was a 49-yard boomer. 3:35 on the first quarter clock. Seahawks lead at 6-0. Low snap this time, but Ramsey handles it, and under a heavy rush, he gets it away. Good jet bounce. Down to the 3-yard line. .3:14 to play in the first quarter, and now Dave Craig and the Seahawks have their backs to the wall, but they have their 6-0 lead still.
Dear Atari Anonymous, ever since my husband Luno returned from Earth with Asteroids, the new Atari home video game, he and the rest of the family do nothing but play Asteroids. Luno says Asteroids is good practice for his interplanetary life. Tell me, dear Atari Anonymous, with everybody hooked on Asteroids, what on earth is a poor Martian mother to do?
New Atari Asteroids, now available for your home.
I have found my new car. The Chrysler LeBaron series for 1982. LeBaron combines high mileage and luxury. The coupe even has a Mark Cross interior available. And no other car has front-wheel drive, luxury, and seat 6 at so surprising a price. Lee Iacocca's dream to combine high mileage and luxury is a reality. The 1982 Chrysler LeBaron series, they are like no other cars in America, Europe, or Japan. My new car.
It's the biggest bowl bonanza ever as Heisman Trophy winner Marcus Allen takes on the team that dethroned top-ranked Pittsburgh in the Fiesta Bowl. Then the granddaddy of them all, the Rose Bowl, plus the battle for the national championship in the Orange Bowl with the #1 Clemson Tigers New Year's Day.
Now the Jet defense has a chance to do its thing. They have held their opponents to less than 200 yards in 4 of their last 5 games, and the league average yield is 330. They have become more than a good defense. They're an intimidating defense. And they've got Dave Craig backed up to his own 3-yard line. Largent in motion. The handoff to Theotis Brown, and Brown back to the line of scrimmage, and maybe a gain of 1 before Lance Mell makes the tackle.
Bob, I like to go back a play to that punt. Seattle historically has been on special teams one of the most exciting teams that you might ever see in the NFL. And I noticed that Sam McCullough was the man on the outside who was the starting wide receiver, putting pressure on the punter. Now you'll see him fly across the front. Even though Rusty Tillman is the special teams coach, that's Sam McCullough in the air there. Jack Patera has a big hand in those special teams, and they want pressure on anybody on the other side when it comes to punting or place kicking or something of that nature.
Second down, and they keep it on the ground, and Theotis Brown busts up the middle to about the 11, which is going to leave them with 3rd and about 2.5. Abdul Salam was in on the stop. Gastineau Salam, Ben Rudolph for Marty Lyons, who still has difficulties with the hamstring, and Joe Klecko across the front. Mel, Blinka, and Buttle, the linebackers. And the secondary, with the likes of Bobby Jackson, who's now on injured reserve, Johnny Lynn and Donald Dykes banged up from time to time, has Ray and Schroy at the safeties, Holmes and Johnson starting at the corners. On 3rd down, they pitch it back to Theotis Brown. He's got the first down and then some. Theotis Brown out across the 20 with a flag down in the backfield.
1, 2, 3, count them. 3 flags in the backfield. I think it's going to be pushing from behind by the Seattle Seahawks. Steve August, number 76, I believe, will be the culprit. Interesting play here. Almost the option. And, of course, when you've got a young man out of, what's the name of that school he's from in Madison, Wisconsin?
Milton College.
Milton College. And I don't believe you have to protect him as much as you have to protect Jim Zorn.
Illegal use of the hands, number 76 offense.
Steve August is the guilty party.
Interesting choice of plays, though.
There's Gene Barth's crew working the game today at the Kingdome. A minute 53 to play first quarter.
You know, I flew out with those guys from Chicago. 3 of those guys. Did you realize that officials, NFL officials, take a test every week? I didn't realize that. They were all working on it on the plane coming out from Chicago.
3rd and 8. Play fake, and Craig drops back into the end zone, tries to scramble his way out. Falls over some tacklers, loses the football, but Dornick is there to grab it.
Warm up Sam Adkins. Now, wait a minute, Craig. We know you're from a small school in Wisconsin, but my goodness, protect yourself a little bit.
Speaking of Wisconsin, we welcome those of you in the Madison, Wisconsin area who had been watching the Buffalo-San Diego game. Here's your man, Dave Craig. We're going to show you the rest of this Seahawks-Jets game from the Kingdome because we know those of you in the Wisconsin area, in the area of Milton College, are interested in the exploits of Dave Craig, who took a whack and lost the ball on the last play, but it was recovered by Dornick. And now Jeff West kicks out of the end zone, and Bruce Harper fields it at the 49-yard line, and down he goes. He did not call for a fair catch, although he might as well have. Ken easily got down and wrapped him after a 42-yard punt by Jeff West. So for those of you in the Wisconsin area, we'll keep you posted on the progress of the Buffalo-San Diego game, but we'll keep you right here in Seattle for the duration of this contest.
They joined us at the wrong time. That was the negative part of Dave Craig. What he did is his first pass completion of the day was a touchdown to Sam McCullum. That's why they lead 6-0.
And the Jets with the ball from their 48-yard line. Gaffney and Bobby Jones both line up on the right side. Tight end Barkham on the left.
Jones
pumping it long, and he's behind his man, and he overthrew it. Bobby Jones was wide open, and Richard Todd just overthrew it.
You know, in that particular case, I kind of fault Richard Todd, not for overthrowing, but the way in which he threw it. If you notice the trajectory of the football, he left no margin of error for the receiver. He threw it such on a line, he's got such a strong arm, that if he'd thrown this ball up a little bit, and I think Jones would have been able to kind of run under it. But that is about a 50-yard pass, almost on a line, and Jones had no chance to adjust to it.
And as you could see, he was a couple of strides in front of Kerry Justin. Joe Klecko on the sideline.
World's largest cherub.
And a large part of the New York sack exchange. Back to the air on 2nd and 10. Good protection. Incomplete, intended for Johnny Lamb Jones.
Well, the Jets look somewhat disorganized here. Not really coming up with anything that has been consistently good for them in this first quarter. Trailing 6-0.
Richard Todd coming into today's game 4th in the AFC pass ratings, behind Anderson of Cincinnati, who has had a tough day against San Francisco, Morton of Denver, and Fouts of San Diego. Todd for the season, 58% completions, 19 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, hasn't had one picked off in 5 games. 3rd and 10, in trouble. Scrambles out of it, throws on the run. Catch is made by Bruce Harper, and as you can see, he's a couple yards short of the stick, but there's going to be a Seahawk penalty. They got him up around the face mask, and that's going to cost them 5 yards and give the Jets the first down. Excellent. I'm assuming 5 because I think it was inadvertent.
Excellent observation, too. And you're right, it was inadvertent. But the Seahawks are getting good pressure on Todd. See him run up there. Lamb Jones was open down the middle, but didn't want to take the chance. Here you'll watch. 53 Butler, just around the face mask. They add on 5 yards, automatic first down for the New York Jets.
Personal foul, grabbing the face mask, 53 defense, first down.
Good call. People in the Superdome, or the Kingdome here, there's so many domes, I forget where we are. The Kingdome are a little upset, but that was an excellent call.
Let's go through them. King, Super, Astro, and Silver.
Oh, you left out one, Carrier.
Well, I figured they weren't in the NFL yet. Did Syracuse get an expansion franchise?
No, they didn't. Not this weekend.
We'll talk about that when we go up there for hoops later in the year. From the 39, the play fake and a deep drop by Todd. Swings it out to McNeil, a convoy of blockers in front of him, and he turns it into a 7-yard gain to the 32 before middle linebacker Terry Beeson stops him.
Good job by the Jets offensive line. This is a real slow screen. an awful lot of time spent out there. You see Newton 44 coming out to try to clear out. There's Alexander out in front. And once again, McNeil using the instincts as a running back. Good, powerful legs. Jackson and Beeson on the tackle. Second down and about 3.
And this might be the last play of the first quarter, which has less than 10 seconds remaining in it. The Jones boys to the left. Motion along the line. Flags are down. So is Freeman McNeil. That stops the clock with 1 second to play in the quarter.
Ball start, 79 offense.
Marvin Powell has cost him 5 yards.
Once again, Bob, I wonder if that is just a lack of concentration. Look at the right of your screen. Marvin Powell. It wasn't 79.
Number 79, replay the down.
It wasn't Marvin Powell. It was 60, Alexander.
Although Gene Barth labeled Powell as the guilty party.
Shame on him. That's why they shouldn't call the numbers of the guilty parties.
Second and 8 to 37. You really feel strongly about that, right?
Yes, I do.
On the other hand, it's informative for not only the fans at home, but those in the ballpark who don't have the opportunity to see a replay. I kind of like it. Last play of the quarter. Incomplete. They'll face 3rd and 8 when we start period number 2.
How about this? Let's compromise on this situation. You can call a guy's name when he gives a penalty, but I want the officials to call the guy's name when he makes a great block. You don't see that either.
We're supposed to do. We'll take care of that as announcers.
But we can't cover them all.
We'll come back with the start of the second quarter in just a minute. The Seahawks on the Dave Craig to Sam McCullum pass leads 6-0.
I know what you mean. My broker says if I want to beat inflation, I've got to get into the stock market. What does your broker say?
Well, my broker is E.F. Hutton. And E.F. Hutton says...
When E.F. Hutton talks, people listen.
Oh, look.
Nice. Watch your step.
Knock, knock.
Come on in.
Welcome to warm afternoons in Gallo Rhine.
Sunny Rhine days with your friends and mine.
Special moments.
The feeling shows.
Will we ever have a house like this?
A Gallo toast with the Rhine that flows. Ah, the joy of sharing Gallo wine. Share the joy of Gallo wine.
Oh, it's a pretty. What do you think? A toast to your new home.
To the future. Share the joy of Gallo wine.
This is Bryant Gumbel in New York. Out in San Diego, the Bills have drawn even with the Chargers. Following a Mario Clark interception, Joe Ferguson rolls in from 3 yards out. They're deadlocked at 7 in the first period. Let's go back to Bob and Bob in the Kingdome.
Thanks, Bryant. First quarter total offense, 76 yards for the Jets. Only 28 for the Seahawks, but the fumbled punt by Chuck Ramsey allowed the Seahawks to take over just outside the Jet 10 for their first possession. They cashed that in for the only touchdown. Wilson Alvarez missed the point after. 3rd and 8 from the 37-yard line of the Seahawks.
Easley's offsides. Now he put his foot back.
The Seahawks show blitz. They blitz. Todd gets rid of it, and Len Jones can't hold it as he was drilled by John Harris. So Todd read it and went with the quick pass over the middle, but Harris made the good defensive play.
Very interesting. Ken Easley comes up in the line, and I'm sure Richard Todd thought that it was a fake, even though there was a hot receiver. Jones couldn't quite hang on to the ball. He's got to be looking now. He's got to realize what's going on in there. Thrown somewhat behind him, but nevertheless, lots of pressure by Ken Easley. Watch 45 come through that line of scrimmage like a projectile. Good job getting it off.
Ramsey to kick again, and to be fair about that play in the first quarter, he could have handled the snap, but it was rather high, so the blame has to be distributed between the center and the kicker.
30-second clock runs out. They'll move it back 5 yards.
They took that intentionally, obviously, to give him more room to work with as he aims for the coffin corner. Gene Barth will make it official.
Delay of game, 5-yard penalty offense, still 4th down.
So far, the Jets have not played but like an 8-4-1 football team. A team that has won 5 straight, 8-1-1 over the last 10 games. Not played well at all.
Miami a winner over New England today. Temporarily a half-game lead over the Jets in the AFC East.
Flag immediately on the play.
Ball out of bounds in the air, and so they're going to mark it at the 15. And let's see what the penalty is going to be.
It was thrown immediately.
Just a 27-yard punt by Ramsey if it stands.
The formation was legal, no penalty.
Flag was thrown incorrectly, and it's Seahawk ball at their 15-yard line. 14 minutes and 51 seconds to play in the first half. And the score remains what it has been for quite a while. The Seahawks 6, the Jets nothing.
This Bud's for all the guys who keep the action from getting out of hand.
This Bud's for you. For all you do, the king of beers is coming through.
Yeah, just for you, that distinctively clean, crisp taste that says Budweiser.
For all you do.
This Bud's for you.
There's only one car rental company in the world, big enough and good enough to be #1 for everyone. Hertz.
Who else guarantees your final rental charges in advance, like this?
And lets you go right from your plane to your car without stopping at the rental counter.
And they never charge for mileage, no matter where you rent the car or where you return it.
Whatever you need in a car rental company, there's still only one company you'll ever need.
The Fiesta Bowl. Heisman Trophy winner Marcus Allen battles Joe Paterno's Penn State defense, followed by the granddaddy of them all, the Rose Bowl, plus a primetime battle for the national championship as undefeated #1 Clemson University goes for its first title ever, New Year's Day.
Joe Walton, Richard Todd trying to get this offense of the New York Jets uncracked. Joe Walton is the guy who was in charge of the offense. The offensive linemen are sitting there on the bench kind of wondering what's happening. But to repeat, the New York Jets have never beaten the Seattle Seahawks for whatever reason. And the last time the Jets lost in this season was to the New York Jets 19-3 in Shea Stadium.
From the 15-yard line of the Seahawks, Dave Craig barks the signals. In place of Jim Zorn, who's out for the year, broken ankle a week ago against the Raiders. Deep drop, falls down and gets rid of it, incomplete to Theodis Brown. Here's the field position situation throughout the game for the Seahawks. They took over at the 12-yard line of the Jets after the botched snap from center on the punt. Took it in 3 plays for the touchdown. They got the ball at their own 28, 3 plays and a punt. Got it at their own 4, 3 plays and a punt. Now have it at their own 15, 2nd and 10.
That's Klecko pushing Ron Essink right into the foot of Dave Craig, and that's what knocks him down. So far, though, the Seahawks have done an excellent job of staying out of that New York sack exchange situation where it's 3rd down and long yardage situation, and the defensive linemen just in their ears back.
They pitch it back to Theodis Brown, and Brown for about 4 yards to the 19-yard line. Klecko makes the tackle, number 73. 3rd and 6, and now Gastineau, Klecko, and the rest can really tee off.
Normally in a situation like this, too, with a defensive line like the Jets have, they're the ones who control the emotion, the attitude of the football team. If they can right now start to really take hold of the line of scrimmage defensively, they're going to have a great effect on the outcome of this football game. 54
sacks for the season for New York. 9 better than the 2nd best total in the league. Best total in the league, which belongs to Oakland with 45.
The NFL record is 67 held by the Oakland Raiders in 1960.
The Otis Brown is drilled on the play by Greg Buttle. Jeff West again will have to punt from deep in his own territory. Of course, the thing to point out is that that figure of 67 for the Raiders was established in a 14-game season, and this is the Jets' 14th game of this year.
Now it appears, too, that the Jets are beginning to take over defensively. And that's exactly what a good team will have happen. This is the best part of their football team, that defense, and they've got to dominate the line of scrimmage, and they're not doing it.
Bruce Harper. They fake it. West throws, intended for easily incomplete. What a time for a fake from deep in their own territory, from their own 12-yard line.
Jack Patera is the guy who comes up with those ideas, and the people in the Kingdom are not happy, but when it works, they're overjoyed. This is just slightly overthrown, easily, even though he's covered. No, Jones has no idea the ball is thrown. And the Seahawks have just done the Jets a gigantic favor. It may swing old Mo to the Jet side of the ball.
A totally inexplicable move by the Seahawks. From the 12-yard line of Seattle, Freeman McNeil to the 9. Keith Butler made the tackle, and there's a flag down.
I think they got somebody with a face mask.
A week ago, no, it's a holding against the Jets. A week ago against the Raiders, West hit Eric Lane for 59 yards off a fake punt, but they called him for the old sleeper play, saying that Lane had snuck in off the sidelines, hadn't reported, hadn't come set, and they negated that game.
83 offense, holding, still first down.
Jerome Barkham on the hold. There is a Jet on the
It's
turf.
Freeman McNeil. McNeil is down and hurt, and the Jet trainers are tending to him. It's going to be 1st and 20 from the 22-yard line. 13:20 to play second quarter rather. Seahawks lead it.
There's only one way to buy a Japanese import and get cash back. Come to Chrysler, not Datsun, not Toyota or Honda. Now save $500 on a new 81 Colt or Champ. On a new 82, save $300. Save $500 on a new 81 Challenger or Sapporo. On a new 82, save $300. Save $500 on any new 81 or 82 Ram 50 or Arrow pickup. Now you can own a quality-built, high-mileage Mitsubishi import and save up to $500 at participating Dodge and Plymouth dealers.
I've had to write some tough things about some tough guys. But there's one guy I can't write anything bad about. His unique brand of baseball has made him a living legend. So have his commercials. They got me to try his favorite beer, light beer from Miller. Light's less filling, and it really tastes great. So I bought this light for that renowned, yet humble man, Art Frunger.
Cheer up, Billy. One day you'll be famous just like me.
Light beer from Miller. Everything you always wanted in a beer, and less.
This is Bryant Gumbel in New York. Out in Denver, the Chiefs and Broncos, a pair of co-leaders in the AFC West, are going at it, and so far it's been all Denver. They are driving in the second period and already leading 10-0. Let's go back to the Kingdom. Bob Costas, Bob Trump.
Okay, Bryant, and Freeman McNeil goes off under his own power, hobbling a bit.
I wonder if that's the same sprained foot that kept him out of 5 weeks of action for the New York Jets. That would certainly be a devastating loss to the Jets. They need all their weapons today. They cannot take the Seattle football team lightly.
The Jets presented with a golden opportunity after a fake punt backfired on the Seahawks. The catch is made by Durking, and Durking is down to the 12-yard line for a gain of 10. So they got back to the original line of scrimmage, and it will be 2nd and 10. Brown and Beeson combining on the tackle. Watch it again.
Seahawk linebackers are dropping very, very deep. There's nobody within 5 yards of Durking on this play. Todd is looking to throw the ball deep, but takes the underneath pattern by Durking. And now 2nd and 10 yards.
Bobby Jones wide to the left. Derek Gaffney is wide to the right. Todd looking behind good protection. Zips it over the middle. Durking makes the catch, and we've got a tie game.
11 yards on the pass and catch for a touchdown by Durkee. Good job, too, by the New York Jets realizing what Seattle was doing in that situation. And it was they had a blitz on, but they had linebacker deep in coverage, linebacker covering, running back out of the backfield. And that's what's supposed to happen. Linebackers aren't supposed to be able to cover running backs.
For Durking, the veteran from Purdue, His first touchdown of the year for Todd, his 20th touchdown pass, which extends his personal season high. Leahy misses his first point after touchdown of the year.
Slipped down.
And so Alvarez's miss earlier is balanced by Leahy's miss. He had not missed an extra point in almost 2 seasons. He had some block, but this one is his fault, and the game is tied at half a dozen.
Betty Turner? First day, huh? Through this door, turn left, past the water cooler, turn right. You're looking for Miss Hunter.
Betty, Olive Hunter. This is Miriam. Hi. And Doug. And this is you. That's really something, isn't it, Betty? Betty?
The IBM Display Writer. It's easy for people to adjust to because it adjusts to people. It practically teaches you itself. It gives you step-by-step instructions, a dictionary of about 50,000 words that helps you check your spelling. There's even a way to check your math. It almost makes errors obsolete. You can type, edit, correct, and zip out page after page. Some people worry about a machine making them feel uneasy. The IBM Display Writer makes them feel they can handle just about anything.
How'd it go? Piece of cake.
IBM, helping put information to work for people.
They're the hottest club in the AFC with a league-leading defensive line better known as the New York Sack Exchange. The Jets are smoking, but can the Cleveland Browns burst their bubble? Next Saturday, an NFL special. The Jets battle the Browns on NBC Sports.
And that telecast, beginning with Bryant Gumbel and the pregame show, starts at noon Eastern Time, Saturday on NBC.
Watch Pat Leahy on this extra point. He appears to turn his ankle ever so slightly. His left foot, and he hits on the outside, not on the cleats, on his left foot. Watch it as it plants. Kind of back on his heel, and that's why he slips.
He had been 30 of 30 in that department this year prior to that miss. Horace Ivory gets back to about the 25-yard line on the return. 14-11 to play in the first half. We're tied at 6.
Bob, you can see Leahy's shoes. Normally they wear, place kickers, sidewinders especially, wear 2 different kinds of shoes. And the one they wear out quickest is the one they kick on. They kick the ball with, and that wears out the front cleat. The other shoe normally lasts an entire season. Rather unusual.
You mentioned that it looked like he might have twisted his ankle on the missed PAT. For what it's worth, that was a rather short kickoff. Last week against Baltimore, he put 5 of 7 into the end zone. Dave Craig to the air on first down, has good protection, has a receiver. Steve Largent makes the catch. Largent to the 45-yard line for a gain of 20.
That's now 66 straight games in which Steve Largent has caught a pass, and he is just 97 yards. Make that 77 yards from his 4th straight 1,000-yard season for the Seattle Seahawks.
And his 60th reception of the 1981 campaign. Watch him run his route.
Exceptional receiver, very, very precise pattern runner, and good concentration on the football.
13.5 minutes to play, second quarter. Handoff to Theodis Brown, and a yard at most, 2nd and 9 coming up. Abdul Salam was there. Blinka also plugged the middle. This telecast is presented by authority of the National Football League and is intended solely for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the Seattle Seahawks and the NFL is prohibited. Second and 9 from the Seahawk 46. McCullum to the left and Largent to the right. Dornick and Brown are the running backs. Fake the give to Theodis. Craig unloads just before he's to be hit, and it's complete to the tight end, John Sawyer. Sawyer with a first down in Jet territory at about the 37-yard line. And Craig really did a nice job of delivering on target under very heavy pressure.
Greg Buttle, 51 on the pressure. He's almost going down. He obviously has an excellent, excellent arm. 17 yards on the catch. John Sawyer's first reception. And boy, that's a big play. And as a coach, you're looking for that out of your players. And this young kid out of, what's the name of the college again?
You'll never get this straight, will you? Milton College.
Thank you very much.
Milton College in Wisconsin.
All 350 of them watching up there in Madison today.
Only 243 of those enrolled are boys. So not much to choose from when they field a football team. Theodis Brown carries a pickup of about 5. 2nd and 5 coming up. But first, let's check with Bryant in New York.
Okay, thank you, Bob. In Denver, the Broncos have scored again. This time, Larry Canada doing the honors from 2 yards out. And in a matchup of co-leaders in the AFC West, it's all Denver. 16-love in the second. Bob?
Thanks, Bryant. And those Broncos are an entirely different ball club when they get you in Mile High Stadium as opposed to on the road. Let's give Theodis Brown a gain of 6 on the last play, bringing up 2nd down and 4 with 11:25 to play in the half. We've had a TD by each team and a pair of missed extra points. We're tied at 6.
Klecko.
Absolutely nothing for Theodis Brown. Maybe a loss of 1 as Joe Klecko slams him down.
That's one of the interesting things about these two defensive ends of the New York Jets, Gastineau and Klecko. Even though they lead the league collectively in sacks, they are still great defensive players when it comes to the run, too, which is rather unusual.
The word from the sideline on Freeman McNeil. It is a re-injury of the same sprained foot, which had kept him out for several games at midseason. Not as serious as before. They're going to try and warm him up on the sidelines before determining whether he can come back. Still limping as you look at him. Paul Johns comes in as the 3rd wide receiver. McCullum, Largent, and Johns in now. 3rd and a long 4. Craig completes it to Largent, who bounces off tacklers and struggles, I believe, with enough yardage for the 1st down. They got it.
Wow, you know, it's amazing. The Seattle Seahawks are keeping 2 running backs in to help their offensive linemen in pass protection on the New York Sack Exchange. And still with just 3 receivers going out, 2 wide receivers and a tight end, they're able to get open. Lots of motion by Largent, the Seahawks, into the line of scrimmage. Watch these running backs. You see 33 Dorning sitting there to help out. Pass block as best he can. Largent's wide open.
Dave Craig with a 1st down handoff to Theodis Brown. They get only about a yard. Craig was not a draft choice of the Seahawks. He was signed as a free agent after the draft a couple of years ago.
His rise to fame here in Seattle, what is parallel to Jim Zorn. And that Jim Zorn was from Cal Poly. That is certainly not a football factory. Neither is
Milton College in Wisconsin. You got it. The Seahawks have had one other player, oddly enough, from tiny Milton College on their roster. His name was Dave Crayveld, and unfortunately for him, he was the 12th man on the field in that famous overtime game against Denver a couple of years ago. The pass complete with a flag down. McCullum, who caught the touchdown pass earlier, makes this reception. But let's see what the officials will decide. Got a clip.
Personal foul. I wonder what that is. Maybe a head slap or something. No, I can't imagine what that would be against the offense. We'll find out. Mr. Barth will tell us, will he not? 15 yards. It's a real no-no.
Personal foul, illegal kicking, a leg whip, number 78.
They call Bob Newton, the 11-year veteran out of Nebraska, on the leg whip, which is the Conrad Dobler specialty.
Not a penalty that is called very often, but one of the most often used little tricks of the trade in the offensive line.
So it brings up 2nd and 24 from the 39-yard line of the Jets. Craig with protection. And with an interception.
And I'll tell you what, I thought Lance Mel popped his knee.
Mel is okay, and he's got the INT. For Lance Mel, his 2nd interception of the season.
Goodness gracious, I thought for sure he hurt himself badly. Watch when he catches this ball, how look at that. Boy, oh boy, he's going to have a sore foot or a sore ankle or something. But nevertheless, the interception. The New York Jets take over on their own 26-yard line.
Radio Shack makes Christmas dreams come true. Whether it's on the track or off or on maneuvers, your kids control all the action with our incredible radio control toys. With an easy-to-operate transmitter, drive a race car, put a motorcycle through its paces, or even control a robot. Excitement for kids and grown-ups, too. 11 different fun-filled radio-controlled action toys priced $11.95 to $69.95. Only at Radio Shack, your Christmas electronics store.
There's a man here who's driving me mad, but I can't seem to track him down. I'm not in the habit of following men, but he's wearing a fragrance I find absolutely devastating. So if he can't find exactly what he's looking for, I might suggest something. Cambridge. The gentleman's fragrance women find devastating.
This is Brian Gumble in New York. In San Diego, the Chargers have gone ahead of the Bills on Dan Fouts' 30th touchdown pass of the year. That tops the NFL. This one's 17 yards to Wes Chandler. It's 14-7 Chargers. Let's go back to the Kingdom.
Well, Trump, I guess you were right. Bell came off the field pretty quickly, but now they're looking at his foot.
Well, I think just his own weight probably sprained his ankle. On this AstroTurf, things like that happen. Your foot just gets stuck. It doesn't slip out from underneath. And they certainly need him.
Now the turnovers in the ball game are even at 1 apiece. Todd lobs one out of the backfield on first down to Scott Durking, who caught the touchdown pass earlier. And Durking has just about 10 yards. It's very close to a first down, and it is a New York first down. Let's pause briefly for station identification on the NBC television network.
This is KING-TV, Channel 5, Seattle.
You know, Bob, so far in this football game, the only receiver for the New York Jets that is not a running back catch pass is Jones. All the rest of the receptions have been caught by running backs. Seattle doing a good job.
Kevin Long with his first carry of the day. And a flag goes down on this play.
A late flag.
Stops the clock with 8:11 to play second quarter. We'll go against the Jets.
It's things like that that make a coach grow gray hair, and it's things like that normally that are players trying to get by. They're not really full of emotion for the football game, and they try to do it the easy way as opposed to doing the fundamental right way. And it normally is a team that's playing under pressure.
Gene Barth now front and center.
The foul call was an illegal crackback. However, the crackback rule only applies to 5 yards beyond the line of scrimmage. This occurred 7 yards beyond. Therefore, it was no foul.
Now, Trump.
Thank you very much.
If you were to take the microphones away from the officials, you'd be without that lucid explanation.
I'm all for that explanation, but you don't need to use the number. Bob, I just noticed Freeman McNeil went to the locker room, the Jets locker room, obviously, to have his foot x-rayed. He made no mention of any number. I mean, I'll take the explanation. Just don't hang it on somebody.
All right. Second down 4. From the 43-yard line, the Kingdome fans expressed their displeasure with Gene Barth's decision. This has been an effective little pattern for the Jets. Bruce Harper breaks tackles and gets into Seahawk territory. That'll be another New York first down.
There's Freeman McNeil standing in the tunnel at the end of the Kingdome. I imagine he's heading towards the x-ray room. All facilities now in the NFL must have that x-ray somewhere there close. He's shaking his head. I believe he knows how badly he's hurt.
And he's got to be dejected. He had just begun to rev it up again after missing several games with the injury. This could have been a wonderful rookie season for him. Instead, it's just been flashes of promise the Jets saw in him when they drafted him number 3. He's never really been able to get it going consistently. Look at this, a gaping hole. Kevin Long busts through it, breaks tackles inside the 25-yard line. And a flag down.
Another flag. This is an excellent job up front. See Rasmussen, you see Ward, you see the center, Joe Fields. Oh, it's face mask by the offensive ball carrier. Long with the hand on the face mask, and they're going to
Face mask on the attempted straight arm.
Yeah. And I wonder if they mark that from the spot of, yeah. Okay. So apparently it'll still be a first down. It's at the end of the play.
Face mask foul, 5-yard penalty against the runner. It's still a first down.
Yeah, interesting call.
Gene Barth getting plenty of that television exposure today.
You can see there, Long has his hand on Harris's face mask. Good call by the official, but I think the New York Jets will concede that penalty. They get a first down.
It cost them 5 from the point of the infraction, and at that point Long had already picked up big yardage. The ball at the 34 of the Seahawks. Game tied at 6. Todd, all kinds of time. Fires into a crowd, and it's intercepted. John Harris picked it off. His 9th interception of the season. He leads the American Football Conference in that department, and that's the first pass that Richard Todd has had picked off in more than 130 throws, and the last team to victimize him was the same Seahawks.
And Bob, that ball should not have been thrown. Lamb Jones, I believe, no, it's Gaffney is the primary receiver, along with Jones out on the outside. You'll see everybody there. You'll see everybody there. There's no way that ball should have been thrown.
7 minutes and 14 seconds to play. Second quarter. We're still tied at 6 apiece.
We brought solar telecommunications to the jungles of Colombia, microwave telecommunications to Mexico and Spain, optical fiber telecommunications to Belgium, and satellite telecommunications to Algeria, China, and Italy, to name just a few of the countries. G. No, GTE.
Ah, good choice. The beer with the taste for food. Natural light from Anheuser-Busch. Not too filling, but oh so satisfying. When you're ready, really ready to eat.
What's more natural than natural light?
They're the hottest club in the AFC with a league-leading defensive line better known as the New York Sack Exchange. The Jets are smoking, but can the Cleveland Browns burst their bubble? Next Saturday, an NFL special. The Jets battle the Browns on NBC Sports.
And it seems no matter how hot or cold the Jets are, the Seahawks spell big trouble for them. The game against the Browns, 12 noon Eastern Time on NBC next Saturday. The last time Richard Todd was intercepted, it was John Harris who picked it off at Shea Stadium. This time his long string, 142 attempts without an interception, is snapped as Harris picks off his 9th of the year. Theodis Brown on first down. Mark Gastineau makes the tackle.
And Greg Buttle went down with a slight ankle sprain. Seems to be up and all right, but Buttle did an excellent job in stringing that play out and allowing the pursuit to catch up to it.
By the way, Lance Mell, who was shaken up after his interception, is in the lineup now as the Jets defense comes back on the field.
Number 56, you see 33 Dornick try to make a block here on Buttle. He's the one that strings it out. And then Blinka, Gastineau, everyone is there. Exactly the way defensive coaches draw it up.
It's no gain, and 2nd and 10 from the 27-yard line. Dave Craig to the air. Good completion to Larson, who breaks away from a couple of tacklers and is still on his feet down to the 25-yard line before Jesse Johnson runs him down. Larson, who has been a thorn in the Jets' side, he caught 6 passes against them at Shea Stadium, 1 for a touchdown. Also ran for a touchdown in that win in New York earlier this year. This one is good for 48 yards.
At the bottom of the screen, you saw 28, Darrell Ray. He's the free safety. It's his job to stand back there, read the eyes of the quarterback, and go to where the ball is thrown. What he tried to do is take a good hit on Largen's chin instead of making a good, clean tackle. He wasn't even looking at Largen. He was looking at the ball, trying to possibly make the interception. That's on Darrell Ray all the way.
From the Jet 25-yard line with 5:39 to play in the quarter, they pitch it back to Theodis Brown. Theodis is able to turn the corner. and pick up some decent yardage before Lance Mel forces him out, along with help from Darrell Ray. Gain of 4.
Yeah, the interesting thing about the Seattle Seahawks is they kind of lull you to sleep. They don't do much. Then all of a sudden, bam, a big play. They've always been a big play team with Zorn and Largent, now Craig and Largent. And did you notice, too, the delivery of Craig? He kind of throws it sidearm. He doesn't really throw it up by his ear, one of those classic passers like Richard Todd. He kind of wings it from the side.
And it seems, in all fairness, that he doesn't really zip it. You have a perplexed look on your face.
Yes, I tend to disagree with you. I think he throws great ability to throw the ball on the line, because he rolled to his left and threw back to his right, and it was right on the money.
Here's the pitch to Theodis Brown again. Brown with a nice move. Brown may take it all the way. He does. Touchdown for Theodis Brown, and under the direction of Dave Craig, the Seahawks lead the Jets 12-6.
He made that look easy, too. That's a great job by the offensive line of the Seattle Seahawks. Ken Troy was complaining that he was clipped or whatever by 86 Tice. They didn't call it. He's into the end zone, 21 yards, and now Walt Michaels is worried. His team is not playing well, not playing with emotion, and the Seahawks are running up and down the field on him.
And Alvarez, on a very low kick, manages to get it over the crossbar by about a ½ inch, and we finally have a successful point after touchdown after misses earlier by Alvarez and Leahy. The touchdown run by Theodis Brown was his 5th scoring run of the season.
And this team is so much built around a good running back. They had Sherman Smith, who got injured. You see a good sweep by the Seattle Seahawks. And Tice, number 86, you'll see right here at the end of the play. It's the last block to break Theodis Brown. Excellent runner. Was kind of hidden at Seattle or at St. Louis behind Otis Anderson. Comes here and has had a profound effect on this football team.
As a matter of fact, since the arrival of Theodis Brown, the Seahawks' average rushing yardage per game has almost doubled. And before his injury, Jim Zorn's attempts at passing per game had gone down significantly because they were relying more on Brown in the ground game, and his completion percentage rose accordingly. Miami beat New England earlier today, and there's Jim Zorn relaxing with the broken ankle.
Yeah, the first start that Theodis Brown had for the Seahawks was against the New York Jets, and in that game, the Seahawks had 217 yards rushing.
Harper takes Alvarez's kick at the 5 to the 20 and about the 25-yard line before he's wrapped up. As you saw by the standings on the screen, Miami's win over New England gives them temporarily a half-game lead on the Jets. The Jets have to win today to keep pace, and if it winds up in a tie, that's good enough for the Jets, because in 2 meetings with Miami this year, they beat them once by a point, and they tied them at Miami, so they have the tiebreaker edge. Ball is spotted at the 24 with 5:15 to play in the second quarter. The handoff is to Kevin Long, and Long bangs out for 6 yards to the 30-yard line. You know, we saw Jim Zorn a moment ago with his ankle in a cast. I thought it was rather humorous reading the Seahawk newspaper. They put out their own publication here, as several teams do around the league. And I saw an ad which encouraged Seahawk fans to sign up to go on a ski trip with Jim Zorn to Innsbruck, Austria in January. I doubt that he'll be on skis. I doubt that he'll be on skis anywhere, let alone Innsbruck, in a month.
If he shows up on skis, Jack Patera will probably burn him at the stake.
Kevin Long can't get outside and is drilled for a loss.
Easily there to make the tackle, make sure that Mr. Long didn't get up off the field of play. And I would imagine that at halftime, Mr. Michaels is going to get out a club or a whip. This New York Jet defense has not played well. They don't have a sack yet today. Seahawks have just gone up and down the field on them offensively.
It's a loss of 1, bringing up 3rd and 5 at the 29. Walt Michaels, they had him fired after 3 games in New York. Now they're talking about Coach of the Year possibilities. But he still hasn't figured out how to beat the Seahawks. The Jets have never done that. 0-5 against them. Need 5 yards to keep the ball. They have it as Harper makes the catch.
Great catch.
If you check the stats on Harper, you'll find that a huge percentage of his carries and his receptions result in Jet first downs. He is a money ball player.
He is second in rushing, second in receiving, first in punt returns, first in kickoff returns, and fourth in scoring for the Jets. Now, I would say that would be not an amazing statistic on a team that's 4-12, but for a team that's 8-4-1, I think that's a very impressive statistic.
Well, with his ability as a punt and kick return man, for 3 consecutive years, he led the league in combined offense. This is Kevin Long on the first down carry. Stopped by Michael Jackson, number 55. Jackson, the Seahawk linebacker, is the guy who in his senior year at Washington intercepted that Michigan pass near the goal line late in the game to wrap up a surprise Rose Bowl victory for Washington.
You see Long trip off the foot of Dan Alexander, or I think he'd gone for about another 10 or 15 yards. But when things aren't going your way, things like that seem to happen an awful lot. And today, things aren't going the Jets' way as yet.
Down to 2:45 to play in the half. And Long carries again. Well, the Seahawks were plugging that gap so quickly that Todd was barely able to complete the handoff.
Keith Butler on a well-timed blitz. Got there just as the ball got to Kevin Long. Very, very lucky the New York Jets did not fumble it. Excellent timing by Mr. Butler. And you know, the Seahawks are going nowhere. They're letting it all hang out. The Jets have got to play pretty close to the vest, not take too many chances, because they're in the run for the roses here in the AFC East.
Long got 4 yards, giving him 7 carries for 36 on the day thus far. It got them a first down at their 49-yard line. They may not get this snap off before the 2-minute warning. They do, just barely. Todd with good protection and with Durking as a receiver. And Durking is wrestled down in Seahawk territory by Keith Butler after a gain of 4. 2-minute warning now. Actually, we have 1 minute and 56 seconds to play in the half, and the Jets are down by a touchdown. We'll return to the Kingdome in Seattle right after this.
I'm on.
And the preceding announcement was furnished as a public service by Manu Tuiasosopo and the National Football League. Tuiasosopo, big day a week ago against the Raiders. 2 sacks, 2 fumble recoveries. We haven't mentioned his name too frequently in this first half here against the Jets.
Going against Chris Ward, I would expect that. He made the move from defensive tackle to defensive end. It seems really to have solidified that Seattle Seahawks defensive line.
Johnny Lamb-Jones sets up briefly in the backfield, then goes in a slot to the left. Second down and a long 4, maybe a short 5. Long pass downfield and incomplete, intended for Barkham, who again was behind the defender. So that's the second time in this first half that Todd has overthrown a wide open receiver on what could have been a touchdown play.
And this is the first week in 3 weeks too that he's been able to practice all week with that cracked rib. But that's the toughest pass to complete that there is in the game. But that's the toughest pass to complete that there is in the game today, Bob. And that is throwing. Barkham is coming from the tight set over there and going straight down the field. You really don't have a good feeling of depth perception on this pass. So it's more touch than anything else. Just ever so slightly overthrown. 26 carry Justin on the coverage. Now 3rd down and 5.
With 1 minute 50 to play in the half. The Seahawks 13 and the Jets 6. Todd to Durking. Very close to the first down, and it is a New York first down at the 40-yard line.
Excellent call by Joe Walton. You've noticed in the first half, all they've done is swing that running back inside. That particular case, Durking went out, faked like he was going inside, went to the outside, picked up the first down.
Both teams have all 3 of their timeouts remaining. 1 minute 46 left in the half, and the Jets down by a TD.
The Jet wide receivers still have only caught 2 passes, and that's by Lamb-Jones. Both of them for 18 yards. The biggest majority of passes going to the running back. Seahawks obviously doing a good job in coverage down the field.
In the last 10 weeks, only 1 team has beaten the Jets, and they're on the field with that team right now, the Seahawks. Barkham makes the catch and is drilled out of bounds inside the 30-yard line.
13 yards on the catch, and he's old reliable. Of his catches so far this year, which have not been many, he's had 33 catches, 7 of them for touchdowns. He's the big play man for the New York Jets. You say bumped out of bounds. See, he's got Butler in man coverage on him. Linebacker coverage on the tight end. Just releases across the field. Well thrown by Todd. Tough catch, hangs on, gets the first down, and gets out of bounds. 1:41 left.
The ball at the 27 of Seattle. Over the head of Durking and incomplete. And a flag goes to Dave Brown hit Durking. Boy, that is a borderline call.
I can tell you why they did it, although in Dave Brown's defense, I'm not sure it's a good call. That ball was way overthrown. You can see there. I don't think that's a good call. I think the official is wrong in that situation. Dave Brown could not watch the receiver and the ball.
Penny Easley is over there arguing his case, but they pace it off against the Seahawks.
That's the first break the Jets have had today, and I think it's a questionable call against the Seahawks.
Here's Gene Barth to explain.
Personal foul, late hit, number 22 defense, first down.
A late hit by a microsecond.
Ball by him. Dave Brown is not looking at the ball. He doesn't know if Kevin Long has caught it, or excuse me, Scott Durking has caught it or not. I disagree with that call.
Jets get a first down at the 13-yard line. They give the ball to Tom Newton. And Newton down inside the 10, and the Jets elect to use a timeout, the first one that they have used. 1:29 to play in the half, so plenty of time for the Jets to take it in here for the tying score. They trail at 13-6. Joe Walton now talking it over with Richard Todd. And NBC Sports has the best of college football on New Year's Day. For the first time ever, 3 bowl games presented back-to-back. First, the Trojans of Southern Cal, led by Heisman Trophy winner Marcus Allen, take on the Penn State Nittany Lions in the Fiesta Bowl. Then, the granddaddy of them all, the Rose. Why do they always call that the granddaddy of them all? It is, but that's the only term you ever hear applied to the Rose Bowl. The granddaddy of them all. Okay, we'll stick with it. Iowa Hawkeyes against the Washington Huskies, and finally, undefeated and #1 ranked Clemson battles for the national championship with Nebraska. The primetime pageantry of the Orange Bowl, all New Year's Day and night on NBC Sports. On NBC Sports, and you'll be at the Orange Bowl, won't you, Trump?
I will, with Clemson in Nebraska. Danny Ford and the Outland Trophy winner from Nebraska, Mr. Remington, who is a junior, and I believe is something like 6'5½" or 6'6", 283 pounds. Always fun down there. Talk to those kids on the sideline.
The ball is spotted just inside the 10-yard line. Second down and a long 6 upcoming.
You've got to think high percentage completion here. You can't take chances. This would certainly do a lot to bolster the ego of the New York Jets if they can get on the board here just before this first half ends.
Well, they have 2 timeouts left, so they can keep the ball on the ground if they want to. Todd will throw for it instead and gets rid of it. Incomplete. Third down coming up.
I have a feeling if Freeman McNeil were now in the ball game, I'd look for a screen. Maybe even a tight end screen to Jerome Barkham, 83, or just a simple pattern by Jerome Barkham. Over the years, he's been one of the real clutch receivers for this football team.
McNeil re-injured that sprained foot, which had hampered him earlier this season here in the first half, and hasn't played since.
He has not even returned to the playing field, I don't believe, Bob. He's still back in the locker room. Pat Leahy on the sideline, warming up for a possible field goal.
This would be a chip shot for him, but also a moral victory for the Seahawks. They're in danger of losing out to the 30-second clock, but they did manage to get the snap off, but the play goes for naught. At the time that Todd took that snap, just 1 second remained on the 30-second clock. So they got down inside the 10, and a couple of plays go for nothing, and now Leahy will come in for the short one.
Keith Butler, 53 of the Seahawks, did an excellent job in coverage there, and the Seahawks are doing a lot better job of realizing what the Jets are doing than the Jets are able to disguise. They haven't done anything to trick anybody yet.
Pat Ryan to hold at the 16, making it a 26-yard attempt. From this distance, Leahy is 10 of 12 on the year. This one is perfect. He's now 25 of 33 on his field goal attempts for the season. and he has connected on 20 of his last 23 three-pointers.
And missed an extra point today because he slipped on the AstroTurf.
13-9, the Jets to within 4. And if you've just joined us, it isn't really fair to say that that extra point will cost the Jets the ball game, if indeed they come to within 1, because Wilson Alvarez of Seattle missed one after the Seahawks' first touchdown, so it evens up. Well, we have an opportunity here. We want to send along best wishes to John Filippelli, one of our crew at NBC. He wound up in the hospital. A little difficulty for him, but Flip is on the comeback trail, and the folks in Seattle have put best wishes for him up on their scoreboard. We appreciate that. Get well soon, Flip. Get back with us for football, and if not, start of the basketball coverage on NBC. See the game yesterday, Trump? Enberg and McGuire, as UCLA really did a number on Notre Dame.
Saw parts of it. That's always a big rivalry, isn't it? Playing in the Convocation Center there on the campus of South Bend.
Horace Ivory is the deep man, the former Patriot. Obtaining a deal early this season for a couple of future draft choices. Leahy's kick into the end zone. Eric Lane fields it there and decides to stay put with 1:18 remaining. 13-9, the Seahawks by 4. They have 3 timeouts left, Trump. They've also got a very inexperienced quarterback. They're up by 4 points. They have to be satisfied if they go into the locker room at 13-9. So do you go for more or do you run it out?
Absolutely. They're going nowhere this season. And if they can get some experience for the football team, and if they're going to go on a fake punt at their own 12-yard line in the last minute and 18 seconds of the half, I certainly would suspect them to throw the ball all over the place.
And Jack Patera agrees as Craig drops back, swings it out to David Hughes, and the rookie from Boise State gets 6 yards, maybe 7 on the first down play. Clock continues to run, moving down toward a minute.
The New York Sack Exchange still without a sack today.
Craig on 2nd and 3. This will be a first down. Hughes makes the catch again. Now the Seahawks ought to use a timeout if they're serious about this.
And they do. 10 yards on the completion.
There's Jack Patera, who has shown no reluctance to take chances. He had Jeff West attempt a fake punt pass to Ken Easley from their own 12-yard line when the score was 6-0 Seahawks. Walt Michaels, a 5-game winning streak in definite jeopardy against a team he has never beaten.
There's Joe Gardy, the defensive coordinator, in the hat, the white hat. Billy Baird, former defensive back for the New York Jets. I imagine Mr. Michaels is very, very upset. They came out to the West Coast a day early, left on Friday so that they could become acclimated to this time zone. And you would expect a better performance out of the New York Jets if you're Walt Michaels in the first half of this game so far, Bob.
There is the last remaining active member of the Jets who was on the field at the Orange Bowl for Super Bowl III. One of the great games in pro football history as the Jets announced to everybody that the AFL was for real when they beat the Colts 16-7.
There are even some people who point to that game as the real reason why that there was the AFL and the NFL combined, because of that Super Bowl victory by the New York Jets and Joe Namath and Randy Rasmussen and Boozer and Snell and Sauer and Pete Lamons and Larry Grantham.
Ball at the 38-yard line, 1st and 10 with 43 seconds remaining in the half. Craig fires to the sideline. McCullum makes the catch, and he's out of bounds in Jet territory at the 44-yard line. Kurt Springs shoved him out.
The Seahawks have just about done what they've wanted to all day long offensively in this first half. 19 yards on that catch. Look at the protection that Craig gets. I wonder if the New York Jets defense coming into this game thinking, well, Zorn's not playing, this guy can't be too much. And also, before I get too heavy on the New York Jets defense, I don't imagine they've seen Craig throw the ball 12 or 15 times prior to this game. You don't know how the guy can play. You have no indication whatsoever.
Dave Craig, no NFL player is from a smaller school enrollment-wise than Craig from Milton College, where he played under head coach and athletic director Rudy Godini. There's the first sack of the day for the New York Sack Exchange. Gastineau was there, and Kenny Neal helped him, number 77, the 55th New York sack of the year.
Good pressure, Gastineau on Steve August. Kenny Neal is there first, and it's just finally the Jets defensive line able to get to Craig.
If you want to focus on the magnitude of what Gastineau and Klecko have accomplished individually this year, they're each closing in on 20 sacks for the season. Gastineau had 17.5 before that play, and perhaps he'll get a half sack, so let's put him at 18. Klecko also at 18. Klecko and Gastineau combined have more sacks just between the two of them than 23 other teams combined in the NFL. And besides Klecko and Gastineau, prior to today's game, only one other individual was in double figures in sacks. That's Fred Dean of the 49ers, who had 10.5 before today's game with Cincinnati, and perhaps he added to it at Riverfront Stadium today.
If you give that a half a sack to Gastineau, too, then he and Klecko are both one sack away from a Jet Club record, which is 19, held by Jerry Philbin. Said, I believe, back in 1968. That was a defensive line that I, unfortunately, that was my rookie season. You talk about a busy day.
2nd and 8.
Playing against Verlin Biggs, Jerry Philbin, John Elliott, Carl McAdams. They can make you change your mind about the professional football.
The Seahawks now have one timeout remaining. It's 2nd and 18. Back on their 48. Craig rolls out of trouble, still being chased by Abdul Salam, and it's intercepted. Picked off by Kirk Springs, the nickelback, number 45. Well, now the Jets, with 2 timeouts of their own remaining, could patch together a couple of plays and get within range for Pat Leahy.
Inexperience on Craig's part leads to that interception.
Quick update here from Bryant Gumbel in New York.
Okay, Bob, in San Diego, the Chargers have broken a 14-all tie. The job being done. Dan Fouts to Kellen Winslow. No, he did not step out of bounds. Instead, he goes 67 yards for the score. And with 55 seconds remaining in the first half, it's 21-14 Chargers. Bob?
Okay, Bryant, for Kirk Springs, that was his 2nd interception of the year. Right into his breadbasket.
Craig had run all the way to the sideline and threw back across the field.
Todd now has it go off the hands of his intended receiver, Derek Gaffney, who tried to make a leaping catch. Stops the clock with 17 seconds remaining. And the ball at the Jet 44, 2nd and 10. (13-9) Seahawks. Craig to McCullum for one score. They missed the extra point. Theodis Brown, a 21-yard run for the other touchdown. They made the PAT that time. Todd with lots of protection, and the pass to Harper. He gets out of bounds after a gain of about 8. 11 seconds left. The Jets have a touchdown pass from Todd to Durking. Leahy slipped, and they missed the point after on that. Leahy later connected on a 26-yard field goal. Bryant Gumbel with all the scores and highlights from around the league coming up at halftime.
Richard Todd now 15 of 27, 134 yards, 1 TD, 1 interception in this first half.
Trying to get it close for Leahy. Durking makes the catch. That'll get them a first down, and they'll have to call a timeout. 4 seconds remaining.
Well, what do you do here?
Well, we're talking about a field goal of nearly 60 yards if they try it now. So
let's give it the hope shot. You got at least one world-class sprinter out there in Lamb Jones. Just give him time to throw it. Hope for interference on the defense or a tipped ball somewhere.
If they had a couple more seconds, they could probably run a quick sideline pattern, get it close enough and out of bounds with 1 or 2 seconds left. But now with 4 seconds, I guess you just have to throw it up.
Yeah, and the quick sideline pass is only going to get you 7 or 8 yards, and I'm not sure that's in Leahy's range. There's Marty Lyons standing next to Pat Leahy.
The longest field goal of Leahy's career, if I'm not mistaken, is a 49-yarder. That's his top figure. Right now, it would be a 59-yarder, which might work if you had Tom Dempsey on the sideline, but won't work for Leahy.
You can see there that close-up of Richard Todd. He's still wearing the flak jacket, still suffering from the cracked rib They got a couple of 3 weeks ago. And I might mention that he has played, not missed a game. Danny White of the Dallas Cowboys been out 2 weeks and questionable for today. So obviously a very high threshold of pain.
Still wearing that hard plastic shield beneath the flak jacket as well. They line up 3 wide receivers on the right. They fire it deep. Well, somebody got a hand on it. Gaffney got a hand on it down there, but no more than that.
Ken Easley just stood there and waited for the ball to come down, which is a no-no for a defensive back. You got to go to the ball.
He could have been a most surprised young fellow if a white shirt came down with it. Watch it again.
Way up in the air, hoping the receivers run under it, but watch Easley 45 just stand there for it. And I believe it's Gaffney that just gets his hands there. Wow.
Halftime score, Seahawks 13, Jets 9.
Rayovac presents George Burns.
That's my name, too.
George, what's the secret of long life?
Rayovac alkaline batteries.
Rayovac alkaline batteries?
They'll play a minute waltz 1,000 times, or...
You're the flower of my heart.
Sweet alkaline, pretty. You, too. Too tall.
But the secret of long life can't be a battery.
Are you kidding? This one is for dancing.
Rayovac alkalines really are the secret of long life. Rayovac alkaline.
Power for the long run.
Well, Dave Craig is working on a Frank Merriwell story. Under his direction, the 4-9 Seahawks lead the 8-4-1 Jets 13-9 at halftime. NFL 81 halftime activities will continue in a moment. We'll be right back after these messages from your local station.
Sunday, travel back in time in an all-new movie special through the Magic Pyramid. Then Punch goes undercover in pursuit of a criminal genius on chips. Then, first time on TV, Mel Brooks' box office smash, Young Frankenstein, a television premiere after an all-new Chips and Ron Howard's Through the Magic Pyramid Sunday.
Gramp, I'm here to help you install your garage door opener.
I did it myself, son. It's a Stanley.
Hey, Dad. Thanks for the garage door opener.
I'll show you how to put it up.
We did it this morning.
The Stanley.
Harry. Oh, happy birthday, dear.
You did it yourself.
It's a Stanley.
Stanley, we want to help you do things right.
Available at your Stanley dealers, Pay and Pack and Jafco.
Trust the leader in technology to forge a new legend, Seiko LaSalle. Trust Seiko to fuse slim elegance and peerless performance, new Seiko LaSalle. Trust Seiko to create timepieces destined for a place among the world's great possessions. Seiko LaSalle, miracles of slimness, marvels of technology. No wonder people trust Seiko more than any other watch. Seiko at your authorized dealer. Old-fashioned quality service and low prices have made Standard Brands famous. Save now on San Moritz carpet, made exclusively for Standard Brands by Dan River. A luxurious Saxony plush made with 100% Rivera polyester. Heat set 2-ply yarn gives it a long life. Choose from 12 rich colors for only $10.99 a square yard. You will find the quality you demand for an affordable price at Standard Brands Paint and Decorating Centers. We're not too big to care.
This is King 5 News, reported by Don Madsen.
Hello, everyone. Back to the Kingdom shortly, but first this news update. A flood warning has been issued for the Chehalis River. It's because of rainfall and snowmelt from Friday night and Saturday. There are no flood warnings on any other Washington rivers, and the threat of flooding on rivers and streams in the Mount St. Helens area has diminished. The State Department this afternoon says the United States has strong evidence that Libyan leader Muammar Gaddafi has been plotting the assassination of American officials. Earlier today, Gaddafi called President Reagan a liar and charged the U.S. was fabricating the stories about hitmen and assassination squads in order to start a war with Libya. A reported target of Libyan hit squads is American diplomat Philip Habib, who's on a peace mission around the Mideast. Habib is in Israel now after talks with Saudi Arabian leaders. This week, thousands of servicemen who survived the Pearl Harbor attack remember what it was like that day. In Elizabethton, Tennessee, one survivor has vivid memories of the attack. Teresa Keller has a report.
On December 7th in 1941, as many remember and most everybody knows, the Japanese launched a surprise attack on the U.S. naval fleet at Pearl Harbor. Within a few minutes, over 3,000 were killed and 94 U.S. ships were destroyed. Jack Ramsey, now of Elizabethton, Tennessee, was there on the USS Sumner and behind the gun that downed the first Japanese plane.
At 8 o'clock, or maybe a minute till 8, we were getting ready to salute the colors. The bands were playing and everything, and we just looked around. We heard a lot of noise, and here was about 300 airplanes coming at us. We didn't know what was going on until they started dropping bombs. My gun crews hollered Japs, and the first plane to come by was a torpedo plane. Was going to lay its torpedo. Looked like it was going toward the USS California, a battleship. So he aimed the gun at that torpedo plane and hit it directly. My ship had arrived at Pearl Harbor just the day before. So the Japanese had all the ships mapped out. We weren't on their map. That's the reason we didn't get hit.
Did you get treated as heroes immediately afterwards? Or?
We caught hell because it didn't shoot them all down. Really.
Teresa Keller for NBC News.
Navy rescuers have found the bodies of 5 more skydivers killed in yesterday's plane crash in Pearl Harbor, raising the number of dead to 11. One person is still missing, another jumped to safety before the crash. Here at home, the search continues today in Lake Young's reservoir for some sign of a missing plane. Searchers have found pieces of what they think was the Cessna 150 that Neil Brown and his son were flying when they disappeared Thanksgiving Day. Yesterday, divers searched part of the lake where bits of a pilot's guide were discovered. The search continues today. The bits and pieces the divers have found include an oil pan, a piece of plexiglass, a wheel, and a strut. But the fuselage of the plane has not been found. They don't know for sure if the debris is from Brown's missing airplane. Back with more news right after this.
To a beer drinker, there's nothing like a cold beer served in a frosted glass. And now you can frost glasses at home instantly. Introducing the Ronco Glass Froster. It frosts all kinds of glasses. Just press the lever and frost glasses for mixed drinks, for soft drinks, for wine glasses or dessert glasses. It's a must for parties, and for only $8.88, they really do make great Christmas gifts.
Available at Pay and Save.
The high-speed roads of Germany where the BMW runs free. What's a Mazda 626 Sport Coupe doing here? Making a point about outstanding value in a road car. Because while the 626 offers the performance, luxury, and economy you expect in a refined road car, it offers it at a price you most certainly don't expect. The more you look at some of the finest road cars in the world, the more you like the 1982 Mazda 626.
Inflation is not limited to the capitalist world. The price of American blue jeans on the Moscow black market is a month's pay for a Soviet engineer or other skilled worker, the equivalent of about $275. The newspaper Socialist Industry called that amount something immoral. The Soviet newspaper also reports that counterfeit U.S. jeans are becoming popular. It seems young customers may accept the cheaper Soviet denims if retailers agree to sew on a Made in the United States label. The area forecast calls for showery periods today and tonight, decreasing tomorrow, periods of partial clearing, high in the low 50s today, upper 40s tomorrow, low tonight near 40, southerly winds 5 to 15 miles per hour. And that's our news update. Back to the Seahawks-Jets game in just a minute.
After landing a big one, a fisherman can work up a big appetite, ready to eat right away. Thanks to the Quasar microwave oven, cooking is fast and easy. No power or temperature settings, no cooking times, just a touch, and the oven does the rest. The Quasar Instamatic microwave oven. It won't make your meal bigger, just better.
Available at the House of Microwaves in Puyallup, Tacoma, and Lacey.
Wouldn't it be nice to drink a hot cup of coffee on the way to work each morning? But you can't, because ordinary cups spill. Introducing Auto Cup by Ronco, the amazing no-spill cup. Just press the lever and drink. Release it and it's automatically sealed. Auto Cup's carrying strap makes it great for golfers, bikers, skiers, boaters, even truckers. Auto Cup by Ronco, a great Christmas gift, and it's only $5.88.
Available at Pay and Save.
This 1981 National Football League game is brought to you by Schlitz, the Master Brewer's Brew. Just one taste and you'll know. Behind every Schlitz is a man who knows his beer. By the new Chrysler Corporation. For 1982, Chrysler has the cars, the quality, and the prices America needs. By Atari. Discover how far you can go. And by the National Guard and the Reserves, where you can serve your country while you live at home. And now let's go to NFL 81 and Bryant Gumbel in New York.
Welcome back to our NFL 81 studios in New York. I'm Bryant Gumbel. Since we're aware some of you may have had to break away for local news, let's get you caught up on the events of Sunday 14. Miami beat New England 24-14. Big effort here by Eddie Hill. It put the Dolphins out in front to stay. Broke a 14-all deadlock. Miami goes to 9-4-1. The Patriots suffer their 12th loss of the year. It was a meeting of the powers in Cincinnati. 49ers going against the Bengals. The 49ers won out the final in the ball game 21-3. Meanwhile, out in Washington, Dick Vermeil's club was leading 13-9 in the fourth period. Vermeil wanted a timeout. Ron Jaworski didn't see him. Too bad for the Eagles. Jaworski put it up for grabs, and Monty Coleman stepped in, picked it up at the 48-yard line, ran right by a stunned Ron Jaworski at the 25 and took it in. Redskins a winner, 15-13. The Rams do not have a postseason date. That's news. First time it's happened in 9 years. They are out of the playoffs. They lost their 5th in a row today, lost it to the Giants, the Meadowlands. It was 7-7 when Leon Bright took this punt, ran it back 52 yards inside the Rams' 10-yard line. From there, Joe Danello made good on a field goal. The Giants beat the Rams 10-7. Not the best of days for Bud Grant of the Minnesota Vikings. Bud and the Vikes had some problems. They were leading 7-3 when Bob Avellini went up top and threw a 72-yard touchdown pass to Brian Baschnagel to put the Bears over the top. They beat the Vikings 10-9. And that puts the division that time forgot into a three-way tie, because at 7-7 are the Vikings, the Packers, and the Lions. The Packers made sure of that today by beating the Lions 31-17. Big ball game for Lynn Dickey. He completed 20 of 31 passes for 279 yards and 2 touchdowns. This one to Paul Kaufman. Final again was 31-17. The St. Louis Cardinals are still in playoff contention. They are at 7-7 after beating the New Orleans Saints today 30-3. The Colts have now lost 13 in a row. Dallas beat them 37-13. All those are finals. Games in progress, as you know. Seattle out in front of the Jets 13-9 at the half. San Diego's beating Buffalo 21-14 at the half. Atlanta's out in front of Tampa Bay. Well, now Tampa Bay's out in front 17-16 in the third period, and it's 16-6 Denver in the third. We'll be going back to the Kingdome for a second half of football. Right now, it's 13-9, Seattle out in front. We'll get to that second half in Seattle right after we take time out for this commercial break.
Hey, world, who do you take traveling?
MasterCard and me.
Who do you take shopping?
MasterCard and me.
Who do you take to dinner?
MasterCard and me.
And me.
MasterCard and me. We can do it all.
MasterCard's the only credit card I really need. Anywhere.
MasterCard and me, we can do it all.
Ah, the mother load. Let's see. Stockings, straight tie. Nobody knows. Sinbad's a cat. He got a mouse. Jim's golf balls. Have we here? Polaroid's new sun camera. Now, this is a Christmas gift. Oh, boy.
Okay, we're back at the Kingdome awaiting the second half kickoff. Bob Costas along with Bob Trumpy. The Seahawks will get the ball, and they have the lead at the end of 30 minutes, 13-9. Leahy to kick off.